I'm Kier.
And I'm Alyssa from In Defense Of, a proud member of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the one you're listening to now.
The opinions expressed are those of the individual hosts and guests.
Be sure to check out all the other podcasts available at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
And get ready, because geekiness begins in 3,
2,
1.
Talk hard and enjoy the Mindgasm. The Intellectual Podcast starts now.
Hey, welcome back to the Intellectual Podcast. Before we get into anything today, I want to give the hugest amount of congratulations to our co-host Whitney Wegman on her recent win for Best Actress at the 2018 San Diego Film Awards. Truly incredible accomplishment for her. She was awarded Best Actress for her role in the film Valhalla, directed by Raul Uriola of Uriola Films. Just a huge congratulations goes out to Whitney. We're all so very proud of you. It's been a little while since we've been kind of in the regular flow of things here at the Intellectual Podcast. We thank you all for your patience. I've been on the road a ton, and I'm finally going to be home for a few weeks, so I think we're going to have some regular episodes here for the next month or so, hopefully. But we're going to start out today with our big Avengers Infinity War kind of spoiler-free, moving into spoilerific review. So when you get to the actual discussion between the panel of people, the first 10 minutes are spoiler-free. It's just like emotional impressions of the film, and then we make the big announcement that we're going spoilerific. And if you haven't seen the film, I suggest you shut the podcast off at that point and then come back after you've seen Infinity War. And if you haven't seen it yet, oh my God, go buy a ticket and go. So, you know, that's the deal. This is Avengers Infinity War episode of the Intellectual Podcast, and we don't mind talking about the film the day it comes out. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, don't listen past the spoiler alert. And if you're looking for other things to listen to, might I suggest that you listen to podcasts at GonnaGeek.com. We're a proud member of the Gonna Geek Network, where you can listen to such shows as In Defense Of, where their most recent episode is Food Fandom. There's nothing distasteful about geeking out in the kitchen, from recipes to gadgetry to rabid fan following of celebrity chefs. If it tastes good, do it. Listen to the episode Food Fandom from the podcast In Defense Of, which you can check out at the Gonna Geek Network or at indefensecast.com. And now we will move right into Avengers Infinity War on the Intellectual Podcast.
Hello there, citizens. I am the terror that flaps in the night. I am the floaty that will not flush no matter how many times you try in the toilet bowl of crime. I am Darkwing Duck, telling you please, talk hard and enjoy the Mindgasm. Whatever the heck that means. After all, you are watching Intellectual Podcast with your ears.
Greetings, everybody. This is the Intellectual Podcast. I'm your host, David Dawson, and we are celebrating. Celebrating might not be the right word, but we are post-Avengers Infinity War. We're going to talk about the film tonight. We're at a Denny's. Myself and
Bryan,
Theresa,
Mike, Cory,
and we're going to talk for a little bit in non-spoilery fashion for a few minutes, and then we're just going to go fuck it and do a spoiler review. So you can listen for a little while. I will make the notification when we're going to switch to spoilers, but we'll start out by getting everybody's kind of like first impression of the film without giving any spoilers away. I'm just going to say this. When the credits started to roll, I didn't know whether to applaud or cry or what.
It was dead silent in that, but not in a bad dead silent.
But not in a bad dead silent.
Like Batman
v
versus Superman.
No, it was very different.
sort of way.
The heavy, very heavy moment when the credits started to roll.
Milk, sure.
So Theresa's actually watched the film twice. So I think maybe we start with her, and she can. Why don't you tell us? Because you saw it with a press group on Monday, and then a real audience today.
Yeah.
What was the reaction like at the end of the film earlier in the week versus the reaction tonight? And what was your reaction to the film emotionally?
When I saw it the first time with the press, it was... They did applaud eventually, but there was like a moment of silence. It was kind of awkward because nobody was sure. You could tell nobody was sure if they should applaud or not. And then, of course, I've been to a few of the press screenings. They all waited for end of credits. And then as everybody walked out, it was a lot of, I'm exhausted. I'm not even sure what I just saw. I'm going to have to think about it. I mean, that was kind of what I heard from people left and right. Today, getting to see it a second time was kind of fun because since I knew, I specifically looked around at certain moments to just see. I wanted to see, you know? But you could definitely feel it being the first screening of the weekend, too. You could feel that those are fans that are in there and that they had massive heavy hearts. The couple couples in front of me just started snuggling after the movie was done and, you know, consoling me. My kid started crying. I turned and looked at Sean and he was crying. So, you know, that was basically what it felt like in the room for today.
Yeah.
So it was interesting.
Yeah. Mikey, what about you? What's your initial gut reaction to the film?
I've kind of been saying it all night. It's just so much to process. Overall, great. And man, they just went straight into it. No build up. Nope. We're just going straight into it.
Well, Cory, when we sat next to each other, and when the first title came up, you turned to me and went, "Damn, that's a hell of a name."
Yeah, it's like, holy shit.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it was easily 10 minutes into the movie before the title came up.
Right. I love the way they did it too. You said it really well, Theresa, as I'm pointing.
It's a great podcast.
Yeah. You said it really well. It's just emotionally exhausting and draining.
Yep.
There's highs, there's lows. It's just across the board. You just need to process afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, you guys saw me after I saw the press screen.
Yes.
And I came back and did I look like just flabbergasted?
Yeah, you just sat in your chair and just like, I don't know what to do with my life right now.
Yeah.
I want to touch on that because, you know, kind of the consensus I'm hearing right now is we all kind of finished the film in this kind of somber state, like not sure whether to cheer or not because of the emotional weight of what we felt. But I want to make sure it's clear to anybody listening. This movie's brilliantly balanced. Well, it still has the Marvel humor, still has the Marvel touch. But I turned to my brother-in-law, Adam, when the credits started to roll, when I finally felt like I could talk. And I said to Adam, Marvel just showed DC how to do a proper dark film.
Well, I was going to say that later on when we were talking about, but like they just know how to do story perfectly. Even in lows, like there's some deep shit happening. They'll throw in a joke just to bring that up. They know how to write it
And
perfectly.
the jokes are done well.
Yeah,
incredibly done well.
Yeah.
Again, this is our spoiler-free moment to try and review the film.
We're trying very hard.
It's very, very hard to review this film without dropping any spoilers.
Overall, just a great film.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I worried about going into Infinity War is that this was the culmination of 10 years, right? Kevin Feige's been saying it for 2 years now, that Avengers Infinity War would be the culmination of 10 years of storytelling, that it would be the bookend to this chapter of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I kept thinking, but, you know, like what studio in their right mind would go there, you know, as far as the Infinity War comic went.
Right.
What studio would allow that to happen, you know? I was blown away by the risks and the level to which Marvel allowed themselves to go in this film. I'm not going to say how far they went, but
Yeah, what struck me is not only like how much it lived up to expectations, but just how bold it was to go after that.
right. Yeah, it's bold, I think, is probably the best word to use for the film in every sense of the word. Like it was just this bold push to actually complete the storytelling that they started 10 years ago and then teased for this at the end of the first Avengers film.
Yeah.
Because Thanos didn't appear until year 4.
Yeah.
Right? And it was incredible to me how much this was Thanos' movie.
Yeah.
I kind of guessed that from the second trailer when that came out. When you knew it was baby Gamora, I'm like, this is how you're gonna feel for Thanos. Because yeah, sure, he's just a big bad up till this point. You see glimpses of him.
And Marvel's villains have been, short of Loki, pretty one-dimensional.
Right. This gave him so much dimension, and you understood where he was coming from.
Whether you agree with the extreme or not, it comes from a place that's at least logical.
Right.
But again, in
understand it.
storytelling, I was telling David and I were talking about this. In storytelling, the best villains are the ones that think they're doing, like just wholeheartedly think they're doing something that's good.
Well, even with Hela, they did a good job with her. That same thing. She thought she was, doing the right thing. She was doing what her dad wanted, and then all of a sudden, I think they did a good job, making him relatable, making the villain, making you feel for the villain.
Yeah, probably their most sympathetic villain.
It's crazy.
Which, for someone you knew has been going on for the last 6 years.
That's
But still
quite
only seeing glimpses of him. Now you really understand what's going on.
that's quite an accomplishment.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, I think that's as far as we can go without going into spoilers.
All I say is must see.
Yeah.
Go see it.
Absolutely go see this movie.
See it.
See it on
See
the
it
biggest
now.
screen you can.
See it
See
now.
it with the
Don't
people you
don't
love,
spoil it.
who love comic book movies.
Do what we all did as we walked out of the theater.
Don't spoil
Everybody
it.
went quiet.
Do not spoil this movie for people.
Zip your lips.
They were
As you walk
people
out of the
standing
theater.
in
It's
line
the
in the
cruelest thing you
hallway,
could do.
and we all went quiet. And they all started going, "Did you guys actually like it?" And I just made no eye contact.
Yes,
I was just like,
the
"I'm not even gonna look
walk
at
of
you."
doom
Yeah.
out of the
The
theater.
Walk of Doom. That's
The blanket of death.
Well, they probably.
It was as if a
heard-
shroud came over them.
They heard that there was no applause. There was no cheering, no applause, and then out walked the audience, somber. That probably flipped them all.
Well, and I'll say this before we swap into the spoilers. They saw adults walking out somber and children weeping.
Crying. Yeah.
My nephew here was not the only crying child in the hallway when we were walking through the hallway of the theater. So with that, we're at 10 minutes. This is now spoiler territory.
Deal with
folks.
it.
We're not going to hold back. If you do not want to have spoilers told, turn off the podcast now. Join up again when you've seen the film.
Dumbledore dies.
I am your father.
Kaiser so
Okay, I knew somebody was going to die in the film. Right?
Oh, yeah.
We knew that going in. Like, absolutely, there were going to be prices to be paid.
Holy
I'm gonna
shit.
Take this off now. Holy shit! How fast it happened. Like, I was taken aback a little bit by how quickly they jumped into Murderville.
What I wanted a little bit of the idea for the pre-podcast.
Is it okay here? Yes, we're doing great.
Yeah, thank you.
The idea for doing the pre was like I wanted to see what people were going to talk about this. And Bryan briefly and I talked about it, like, okay, what do you think's going to die? We kind of like leaned over each other, and my first thing was like, it's going to start with Loki, and I said Spider-Man.
I thought Cap.
Well, and I think across the board, Cap was probably number one for a majority of people.
Well, I
And
think
then
the reason for
Tony
that,
Stark was also a popular favorite.
but I think the reason for people thinking Cap was going to be the one to get the axe
Because of his contract.
Was because of his contract. And I
thought also because of comic books.
But I think they let that discussion of Cap's, Chris Evans's contract and stuff roll like it did, because it was a good deflection over what was really happening in the story.
I knew a little bit more from the comics, kind of like Bryan was saying, but I thought he had.
Isn't Captain America a girl eventually?
Yeah, but Cap died in the Winter Soldier storyline.
Oh.
Not in the Infinity War storyline. Not
Messing with the time. That's the only thing.
So there are some changes associated with the films to the comics, but in that sense, Cap's death wasn't a Infinity War deal in the comics.
The main thing is the snap. I was wondering if they were going to do it.
Yeah. That's a big, bold move.
It's a huge move.
It's in the comics. It's, they teased it in the trailers with the snap talking about it.
Yeah, they called the one commercial the snap.
Yeah. And holy crap, they went there.
Mm-hmm. And it was relentless.
But getting back to what we were talking about, so in this iteration of Infinity Gauntlet, the Infinity War for film, Thanos isn't trying to seduce Hela or whatever to be his...
The death, right?
Yeah, death. In this one, he's legitimately trying to save the universe in his mind from life snuffing itself out by getting too big and overwhelming the resources in the universe, which is a pretty
environmental.
It's a nice eco-friendly story.
It's a current storyline.
Timely.
Yeah, timely, right? But it's such the extreme. Mm-hmm. But when I was watching, people basically turning to ash, right? It seemed pretty humane.
Just kind of dissolve off.
They didn't seem to be in a lot of pain or anything. They just kind of ceased to be.
And that's why he said a lottery,
So maybe it wasn't such a bad thing.
Well,
rich, poor.
But that's what Thomas was saying is it's a mercy. It was a mercy.
Mm-hmm.
He kept saying that it was a mercy.
I thought it was interesting too that they were bold enough to not show the first Infinity Stone being captured. They just mentioned. You don't find out until, because I'm like, why did I get the first one? And then like a few minutes later, they're like, oh yeah. Actually, it was like half an hour to an hour into it when they finally said how he got the first stone.
Yeah, but he wiped out Xandar.
Yeah. But I thought that was bold.
I think there's just
too.
so much story to tell.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that I know that they've shot that's not on, which is maybe waiting for part 2, or it's just with editing choices. Who knows what cutting?
Because they were at 2 hours and 30 minutes.
Right,
but it just moved though. Like,
Yeah,
it didn't
it really
feel like
did.
2 hours and 30 minutes.
I was saying it back in the theater. Like there was interesting choices with their trailer choices. They said the exact same thing, but had different shots. Mm-hmm. Like I mentioned Peter going up to Doctor Strange saying, hey, I'm Peter Parker, by the way. I'm Doctor Strange. Completely different background for Doctor Strange. A different angle. He's facing a different way. Mm-hmm. They do that with a lot of scenes. So that could be marketing. That could be part 2.
Well, I had read an interview with the Russo brothers where they said that in all of the marketing material that they put out, they didn't release more than 5 minutes of the film.
It was pretty much the exact same
which was
sequences you saw.
Pretty incredible on a 2 hour and 30 minute film.
They just had different voiceovers.
Well, the interesting was
They had different voiceovers and just swapped around a little bit.
So Brolin's voiceover for majority of the trailers was the first 5 minutes of the film.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
It set the tone right there.
Yeah.
I was surprised how much the Guardians, how much screen time, especially at the beginning of the film, how much screen time Chris and the Guardians had.
Yeah, I was curious to see how much Guardians there would be in the film.
They're going to be here, but they were.
But, Thanos is a cosmic being. They're the cosmic Avengers, right? Mm-hmm. So, it makes sense that they're in it as much as they are from that perspective. A whole lot of the movie took place off of Earth. I was really surprised by that. Tony and Spider-Man and a bunch of the Guardians fought Thanos on a completely different world.
You had the brief shot of New York City, where then they get dragged up into space, and you had Wakanda. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Let's talk a little bit about Hulk.
It's the best.
Again, another deflection in the promos, right? Like they show Hulk running with the rest of the Avengers in Wakanda, but that's not actually how it plays out.
Yeah.
In the movie, it's Hulkbuster armor like the whole time.
Yeah. But in all the trailers, you saw Hulk running.
Yeah. So
only that last shot. Only the last hero shot.
So I kept waiting for him to Hulk out, but he never hulks out. Right?
That's part of the thing.
So Brian, you were saying in the car that you were thinking, well, Hulk's tired. He was Hulk for 2 years, 3 years. It's a bit much. But my take on that was different. Hulk got his ass fucking kicked.
It's mental.
Which he's not used to, right? Because he's the champion for so long.
He just spent 2 years being
the champion over and
him.
over again. He lived in a high castle kind of like palace, riches galore. Everybody adored him, and then all of a sudden he gets a fucking ass handed to him.
That's one of the things that made me
Hulk
say.
Doesn't want to Hulk out. Like
Cory was saying in the car ride. He was talking about
like holy shit, what an intro. That's a large part of that is that Loki uses gets to use the "We have a Hulk" line, but then the Hulk gets his ass kicked,
and that just sets up Brolin or Thanos right off the bat saying, "Look, dude, this guy's badass and strong. He doesn't need
and he's barely even started yet."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I thought that was a complete mental thing too.
Yeah.
I'm like, he got his ass kicked, so he doesn't want to.
Well, and that really set the stakes up in those first 10 minutes, right? You lose Heimdall, you lose Loki.
That surprised me.
You lose a ton of the Asgardians, right?
Yeah, they're pretty much
and
extinct
Hulk gets
now.
his fucking ass kicked. And that's comic book true too.
Yeah.
The Asgardians fucking going extinct. They eventually take up shop above Oklahoma. When they're resurrected.
That was another shot from the trailer where Thanos is grabbing Thor's head. That wasn't in that shot or the end sequence of the movie. He was wrapped around some metal pieces getting stuck while the entire thing.
Well, no, he was holding him when he was threatening.
Not the part where he's like grabbing, like not the part you saw in the trailer.
We'll have to go back and look.
Go back and look because I thought it was.
But still, they did a very good job crafting their marketing narrative to not ruin the film.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think Marvel did a wonderful J.J. Abrams job of secrecy level on this film.
They had to.
The actors
just
had a
staggering.
fun time trying to.
Well, we could barely get through 10 minutes of not spoiling in the podcast, right?
Yeah.
Can you imagine being somebody who's lived this for the last 2 years? Like that's
your
insane.
whole life is a secret.
Basically. Some favorite moments. What were some of your guys' favorite moments in the film?
The whole sequence on I think it was Vormir, the Soul Stone world.
Oh God!
When Thanos has to make like his ultimate sacrifice, and then like the heavens start swirling and it's just engulfed in light. It was a very, very beautiful moment.
There were a lot of like
crushing too,
like artistically beautiful moments in the film. Like, I was a little surprised by how artistic it was. Like, because there have been some criticisms that Marvel's films haven't been like wildly artistic. They're not like Zack Snyder, levels of overindulgence. But I thought they did a really nice job adding artistic touches, especially like comic book style.
Anything in space,
Grand space
which started with Guardians, but that place was gorgeous with that eclipsed sun in the background. The water was brilliantly purple and green. It was really pretty. And Red Skull out of left field. Holy cow, that was awesome.
Yeah,
blast from the past.
That was so cool.
I was surprised that
I made a noise when I first saw that a couple days ago. I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And Nicole's like, "What?"
I was really surprised that Hawkeye. I mean, they mentioned him and Scott Ant-Man, but that was it. I was really surprised that there wasn't an appearance or something more than just the mention of him. I mean, maybe the next movie, but
it is a two-parter.
I know, but
and there's a lot of empty room now for other people to step in.
Well, and there have been set photos that have leaked out with Jeremy Renner sporting a Ronin-style haircut. I wonder if he lost his family in the Great Ashing.
Oh, shit.
That would make for a really interesting storyline for Clint in the sequel.
That would make a really...
Wow, yeah.
That would, and since y'all got accustomed to the family because you saw them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Joss had said, I've got a big plan for your character. You know, just trust me, this is where we're going with it. To establish his family like that sets up a really cool backstory for him.
Then he'd be really
and a good
pissed,
entryway
like,
into the next film, right?
Yeah.
So,
being all upset that he stayed home, didn't want to fight because of his family, and
he ended up
lost his family because he didn't go and fight.
Yeah. Theresa, what was your favorite?
God, seeing it 2 times, and I'm still not entirely sure what my favorite part is, other than I am overwhelmed with how the acting was in this. The range of motions that they all had to show was insane. To cracking the jokes, to crying, to almost acting like they're losing it, you know, because they're just not sure anymore. They went from being, you know, a solid group to then Civil War being split apart, broken group to now they just don't know what is right and wrong anymore. And if they're even doing, I mean, just I was more just blown away with how well the actors
Chris Hemsworth, had to basically show all that emotion with one eye and the metal on his mouth when Loki gets killed.
And with puppets the entire time, right? Because he's going to be with Rocket and Groot the entire time. So he's with...
Well, yeah, because when they use them, the...
Is Zoom okay here?
Yeah, it was great. Thank you. Like when we were...
Done with this?
Oh, yeah, good. Thanks.
The pod. And Raccoon decides to ask him how...
Rabbit.
Oh, yeah. He'll be captain.
Which is hysterical. But
that was good.
That moment there, I thought, was Chris Hemsworth. It was insane.
Yeah. Yeah, when he's processing losing his whole race and
his brother and everything and his hammer and his, and just...
Yeah, Thor's lost a lot.
Back to the uncertainty of not knowing now all of a sudden what to do anymore, I thought he showed that really well. Yeah. I love the fact that he kept calling Raccoon Rabbit. And Raccoon never corrected him.
No. That's because he respected him.
The first time, he's like...
He called him the captain, so...
any other time in the other movies, somebody would call Raccoon something else other than a raccoon.
Well, other than Rocket. Yeah.
Or Rocket. Or call them a different type of animal.
Trash panda.
He would be mad.
Pirate Angel.
So many good lines.
So many different lines.
Bryan, what was your favorite?
I'm trying to think of it. It's weird, but one of my favorites would have to be seeing Thanos cry. I thought that was just so well done. Not just the graphics. I mean, you read it in the eyes, and just the way they decide to bring that emotion out of the bad guy. I thought that was just...
Brolin did such a good job in this. Oh my God.
Very interesting and expressive face.
Yeah.
It looked so much like him too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it looked so real. I was just all the little details.
and they make that joke in the movie.
Yeah. I wonder if they accentuated that chin just for the joke.
Yeah.
Because Thanos has gone through a little bit of a redesign for this film.
Yeah.
From how he looked in the previous couple of...
He was way more purple and or bluish, actually, a little more blue, like a darker grayed out tone. But
a little more of a grayed out tone, less of the dark, deep purple. My favorite part, I have to say, I think it was Tom Holland. At the end of the film there. Like,
I want you to know that even the second time around, it doesn't get any better. It's not any easier.
Spider-Man's my favorite character, like in comics to begin with.
I mean,
my nephew Sean here, same thing. Poor Sean was in fucking tears for a half hour after the movie. But Tom Holland just nailed that performance for me. Just, it was heartbreaking and really... To also watch Robert Downey Jr. processing that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because he has kind of taken that kid on as his kind of surrogate son.
Yeah.
It was.
But he's like
it was truly heartbreaking.
He's like the most innocent and pure-hearted character in like the whole universe, the whole franchise.
Right.
And he also gets like the most gut-wrenchingly raw moment in the entire sweep of the movies, I think. It's just like so real and gut-wrenching.
Had a lot of favorite parts, but that's when they split up into their groups. My favorite group was by far Stark, Spider-Man, and Strange. Because the banter between the three of them.
Star-Lord.
Yeah, but the three, I think I like the three better than Star-Lord was good here and there. Especially when they first come up with the plan, all that kinds of stuff. But the banter between Stark and Doctor Strange from the very beginning of the film was hilarious.
Yeah,
they're just big egos butting heads and whatever. But then you have the comic relief of Peter Parker come in to help lighten that up a little bit. Was brilliant.
Yeah, well, it was funny because it was like two very rich white dudes. Like,
and you have a kid
bitching at each other, and then the little kid was kind of like, "Hey,"
There's a lot, but I think my favorite's my boy Thor coming down with a hammer, just bashing everybody down.
Well, it's like a hammer
axe. Yeah, it's a battle axe. It's a battle axe. What it is.
Yeah.
Stormbreaker.
It was an interesting piece to have Groot make the handle.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of a fun little touch, especially since he'd seemed so uninterested in the rest of the movie.
Right. Have him step out of his shitty teenager self for a moment.
That was fun too, to have Thor understand Groot.
It's an elective. I took it in
at school on Asgard. That was so funny.
I thought it was interesting to have Peter Dinklage as
the dwarf.
As a dwarf, a large
20-foot tall dwarf.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, and they've been keeping it pretty quiet what role he had too.
Yep.
It was, I mean, just across the board. Again, their casting I think is really, really excellent. Super solid. And the Russos, my hat's off to them. I don't know how you direct a movie like this, let alone write it.
Right.
How do you balance all those characters? Every character had a moment.
Because they did Civil War.
Every single character had a moment.
They did Civil War. But they did anything else besides Civil War?
Winter Soldier.
Okay, it was Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they've been carrying Cap's story since the second Cap film. And I was impressed with what they did in Civil War, because that was a lot of characters, but this was insane.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just a lot of characters, it was like all over the map, Earth, Titan, nowhere. Like they went everywhere.
Everywhere and nowhere.
But they balanced it really well. Like it didn't feel to me like anybody's character got cheated. It didn't feel like any storyline was rushed or not thought through. I thought
everyone was in really good form.
Yeah, the whole love with Scarlet Witch and Vision, I thought was really well handled.
That twice in it, you saw how strong the lows were. So Star-Lord willing to shoot, and actually did pull the trigger.
Did you notice Gamora smiled at him?
Yes.
She smiled at him before she disappeared.
She smiled at him because
he did it.
She
in
was
the end,
so
he
proud
went to do
of him,
it.
And then with Scarlet Witch now having basically to do the same thing with Vision.
That was that was the most impactful death to me.
Yeah.
was Vision. Because you saw it twice. You had it as a personal.
I knew the time was going to come back, and I'm like, oh man, he does not need to die.
And I'll do the trick here. Thank you guys.
Like,
Yeah, the first was
just cruel.
was
The first one was kind of a beautiful.
kept saying,
sound's
"It's okay.
gone. The sound
It's okay."
there's no there's just music, and it's very impactful because you're sacrificing yourself to a loved one.
Well, and all he kept telling her was, it's okay, while she's doing it.
Yeah,
You can't hurt me. All I can feel is
Yeah,
you.
Yep. You know.
and then all of a sudden you get that ripped out away, and
then you
then
get it ripped.
a brutal
Yes.
death.
Mean.
The legs limping. Oh,
All the color drained out of him.
yeah.
Yeah, totally great.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was by far, for me, the most impactful death.
There were so many deaths.
Yeah.
There's a lot of deaths.
There were a lot of deaths. Even before the snap.
Even before the
There
snap.
were a lot of deaths in this movie. Like, going into it, I got the impression from a lot of people I talked to that they expected one, maybe two deaths.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
a couple people's contracts are up. Like, we kind of expect certain things to happen, like Cap. Like, everybody kind of assumed Cap was going to go in this film because this was already an extension of Chris Evans' contract, right? It was brutal, like, all the way through. Just brutal. Thanos is the most brutal comic book villain I can recall on screen. Him and his cronies.
They were all really cool, by the way.
Yeah.
They were cool.
Especially Ebony Maw.
Did we
With Doctor Strange with those pin things. Oh
That
my
was also like straight out of
God.
the comic book too.
Yeah.
Like, it's awesome.
Did we figure out who that voice was?
I looked it up. I don't know him. He was in Peaky Blinders, a couple other things.
Yeah, all the voice work on everybody who did voice work for the digital characters.
Yeah.
I thought just did an absolutely phenomenal
Yeah.
job. And hats off to the entire CGI team. I mean, the level of
lot of
CGI in this movie was
The gauntlet.
insane.
The gauntlet was so badass, and how it controlled different things by different ways he uses the fist. Like, I love the part when Tony's shooting rockets at him. He takes the fire and shoots it straight back at him. Like, that was awesome.
Yeah, I liked when Ebony Maw was like hurling darts at Strange, and Strange created a portal, and Wong created another portal, and they shot him right back at him.
Yeah.
Well, they
Like, that was funny.
had a lot of creative uses for his powers because those darts were just like he pulled bricks out of the ground and then shaved them off until
Into
they were
the
just
spikes.
little
That was
flechettes.
cool.
Yeah. There were a lot of nice little touches like that throughout the movie. Everybody's powers were pretty well defined and had a moment to shine.
Used in cool ways.
Yeah, not just the heroes, but the villains. The villains were
Star-Lord flicking off. Thanos as he goes down a portal.
typical Star-Lord. Yep.
Sean cracked up. Oh my god, he thought that was the funniest thing ever. It's
It's
hysterical.
about right.
He took the bird, man. Yeah, that's exactly what he did.
The end credit sequence.
Very interesting.
Did you see that coming?
The post-credit?
Yeah, the post-credit sequence.
Not at all. Not at all.
So, my brother-in-law Adam turned to me and goes, "What the hell's that?" Because I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, I was in the press screening. I was the only one that went, "Oh yeah, okay," because I love people. What was that symbol?
Yeah. So Nick Fury sets off a distress beacon and sends it out to Captain Marvel. So I've been wondering how they were going to bring Captain Marvel into the current MCU, knowing that they've announced that her film, which will be between this movie and the next Avengers film, is taking place in the 90s, right? So it's her origin story. Where's she been? Like what's going on? And I wasn't sure if she'd show up in this movie or not. When she didn't, I was then very much like, okay, well, how are they going to work that into the second film? But it was cool to see that call go out at the end. Really makes me wonder now, though, what the Ant-Man movie is going to be like.
Yeah.
Like, where in the timeline does Ant-Man sit since it comes out a couple months from now?
Probably, my guess would be during or right before. And I'm wondering I don't really know. I may be speculating here, but I'm wondering if Hawkeye's in part of it.
That'd be interesting.
Because they partnered up a little bit during...
well, in the comics, they partner up all the time.
Right. So I'm wondering if maybe that they've been doing kind of like Thor and Hulk did during Ragnarok. They've got their little side mission going on. I like how they're like, oh yeah, we need to catch up.
They came up with, they did a deal.
Yeah, they cut a deal.
They cut a deal.
Families.
So I wonder what the deal was.
Oh, I'm so ready to see Ant-Man now.
Which is just right around the corner. It's only like what, 2 months away?
Yeah. When does Captain Marvel come out? Is that like February?
I thought that was the movie in the fall.
November? It might be. Either way, I'm just... Look, we're on the West Coast right now. I woke up this morning in Orlando, 7 a.m. Orlando time, so I've been up a very, very long time. My brain is struggling to keep up with everything it wants to think right now.
Are you glad you didn't see it yesterday?
Fuck no. I wanted to see it last night. I should have seen it last night. Then I'd be more coherent in my thoughts right now.
No, it doesn't help. It doesn't help.
I will say this. It's definitely going to be multiple viewings at the Cineplex. It's so grand in scale and scope. And,
I caught some stuff I didn't see the first time.
yeah.
Obviously.
Do you think it's going to beat Black Panther for opening weekend and topping it? Like, do you think it's going to be the biggest grossing Marvel?
I read this morning that it was outpacing pre-sales of Black Panther already.
I think with how the success of Black Panther and it being so close to Avengers, I mean, Black Panther was still in the theaters last week.
It's still here now.
No, I know, but I'm saying I think it's given this big. There's this big wave. And let's be honest, whether you were a Black Panther fan or Captain America, everybody's been waiting for this.
Yeah.
You don't have to like all the characters.
Well, and I think even casual film fans are kind of aware of what's going gravity of this movie. It being this kind of massive culmination of all this storytelling that Marvel's been doing. And I think even if people weren't following along, I think it's hard for anybody to miss this one.
Right.
So we got a huge group that just came in behind us. And we probably don't want to spoil the movie for all these teenagers.
So we should, I don't know how much you'll be able to hear us.
Unless maybe they just came out of the movie themselves. But I doubt it. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. It's a 40-minute episode anyway. Cool. Yeah. Totally okay. Guys, thank you so much for sitting down and talking about the film.
Thank you.
So good.
I can't wait for all the
so much to
people
process.
talking about it.
Yeah, I can't. The water cooler talk is going to be insane
Dead
for this
serious.
for a
The last
while.
2 days was really difficult.
I don't know how you managed not being able to talk to anybody.
Really difficult.
But kudos to you for not spoiling it for anyone.
I did not. I tried really hard.
So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I'm David Dawson. This is the Intellectual Podcast. I've been sitting here reviewing Marvel's Avengers Infinity War with
Theresa,
Mikey,
Cory.
And you can find all sorts of great content like the Intellectual Podcast at our network partners, the Gonna Geek Network at GonnaGeekNetwork.com. And we will be back with more episodes. I'm back in town now, so I'm going to be getting back on a few regular episodes for the next few weeks. So be sure to be checking out The Intellectual at ixe.us or at GonnaGeek.com. And we will catch you all again soon.
Peace.